Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. This week's edition of the Nipua Banner and Press is dated Friday, October 7th, 2022. On the front page, there's a very bright, beautiful picture, and it's entitled, "Every Child Matters." Here we have two dancers dressed in full Indigenous regalia. They're performing traditional dances for the Nipua Middle School and the high school students during the powwow presentation at the Nipua Flats. And the article is by Destiny Mackey. On Thursday 29th, NMS and NACI, that's the Nipua Middle School and the high school, the students had the opportunity to attend Indigenous Culture Day hosted by Arts Forward at the Nipua Flats. The day was in support and awareness of National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, commonly known as Orange Shirt Day, which is on September 30th. Yvonne Sisley, administrator for Arts Forward, said, "When I started my position at Arts Forward last fall, I was determined to bring an Indigenous Culture Day to Nipua, especially after everything that came to light with the residential schools and the discovery of the unmarked graves. The Indigenous culture is amazing, and I've been very fortunate to be able to attend powwows and get to experience that side of the culture. I knew I had to somehow bring that experience to the students here. And with Arts Forward being the cultural center in this area, I felt it was our obligation to ensure we do it." And it goes on to say, the event was held open to the public, but held the day before because the schools could be involved in the event as much as possible, as it provided a great learning opportunity. After the small presentation the previous year, Miles Cathcart, Nipua Middle School Grade 7 teacher, approached Arts Forward about creating a full day of cultural activities for the Grade 7s to participate in. This year, the event consisted of 2 powwow presentations, 5 new learning stations, and 14 presenters from Ebb and Flow First Nation, Sandy Bay First Nation, and Tatasquiac Cree Nation. The stations included Bannock making, beading, drums, regalia, dancing, and storytelling from an elder at the teepee. Sisley said, "I applied for several grants to ensure we could have a full day experience for the entire community. Beautiful Plains Community Foundation, Building Sustainable Communities, the Town of Nipua, Nipua Gladstone Co-op, Salvation Army Nipua, Frozen Fire Studios, along with Arts Forwards, as well as many students from Beautiful Plains School Division, are all to be thanked for making this day possible." And here we have some pictures that show what happened that day. Joseph Lavasseur of Ebb and Flow First Nation dances in full traditional regalia. Local Indigenous artist Megan Peters worked on a live art piece for the students to partake in by adding their own orange handprints. Here we have Elder Stanley Mousseau from Ebb and Flow First Nation doing some storytelling for grade 7 students. Here is some freshly made bannock for the students and the public to taste. Here we have champion powwow dancers. From the left, Joseph Lavassieur from Ebb and Flow First Nation, Sam Jackson from Sioux Valley Dakota First Nation, and Mikey Mentak from Wayway-Sakapo First Nation. Here we have Sam Jackson of Sioux Valley Dakota First Nations dancing with the students. And Indigenous artists Raylene Roulette and Julie Resette were helping Shania Roulette teach Nipua Middle School grade 7 students how to bead a small item at the beading station. Closed until further notice, by Owen Devereaux. A historic downtown Nipua building is empty today due to the intervention of Manitoba Health. On Monday, October 3rd, a written notification was tacked up on the doors of 287 Hamilton Street, known to many locals as the Kerr building. Within the notice, it explained that the premise had been vacated and that further occupation of them is prohibited. While the storefronts of the building have been vacant for the past few years, there had been numerous tenants living in the apartments upstairs. They were informed back in September that they would need to vacate the complex by Saturday, October 1st. As of October 3rd, all those individuals had moved out of the building. The Banner and Press requested further details from Manitoba Health on the reasons for the notice and the boarding up of the building. They replied via email and noted that the building no longer met the provincial requirements for numerous fire code and safety standards. On July 21, 2022, a number of issues were identified with the premise located at 287 Hamilton Street in Nipua. Subsequently, because multiple health and safety hazards have not been addressed in a timely manner, a health hazard order was issued for this premise. All items listed in the order, including fire, electrical, and building code requirements, must be repaired in order to rectify the situation. The building must remain vacant until such time as the repairs are finished, stated Manitoba Health. The Kerr building is named after John Kerr, a local successful merchant who, along with Adney Graham, opened up a business on the premise. The store once held 3 floors of dry goods, clothing, and groceries. In the 1930s, the top floor was converted to apartments. The founder's grandson operated the store until 1982. In the intervening years since 1982, the Kerr block has been home to the Royal Bank, a florist shop, a boxing gymnasium, and many other enterprises. The main floor has not been occupied for several years. Vehicle thefts on the increase in rural area, submitted by the Spruce Plains RCMP. The Spruce Plains RCMP have noted an increase in vehicle and property thefts in the rural area. One of the common themes is that vehicles have been left unlocked with the keys located in or near the vehicle. Manitoba Public Insurance, or MPI, has noted that almost 90% of all vehicle thefts involve the use of vehicle keys. MPI advises, do not make it easy to steal your car. Do not leave keys in your car. Always remember to lock your vehicle. Park your vehicle in a well-lit area. Avoid hanging your keys by the door and put the keys in a safer, out-of-sight place. The Spruce Plains RCMP are requesting property owners remove keys from vehicles, lock up valuables, and report suspicious activity in your areas. In the last few weeks, we have had 2 complaints of persons passing counterfeit bills in Minnedosa and Nipua. In both cases, $50 US dollar bills were passed. It is common for persons to purchase gift cards with their counterfeit currency. In both instances, suspects were identified and charges are pending. Yes, There is a presentation that is going to be at the Roxy Theatre on Friday, October 14th, 2022 at 7 o'clock. It's called Across the Pond, Music from the British Isles. There will be a concert by Lunch Money with many special musical guests. Advance tickets will be at Arts Forward for $25, and this is a fundraising event for Arts Forward, featuring songs by the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Eric Clapton, the Animals, the Van Morrison, and many more. All right, travel and entertainment section. Terry Fox Run results break local records by Kira Patterson. This year's Terry Fox Run in Nipua was a huge success. The run took place on Sunday, September 18th, along with many other fundraisers across the country. We had more than 115 participants and over $10,000 raised, both significantly above average in the past, shared Dr. Kelly Kraseniak, organizer of the Nipua event. I was very happy with the results and encouraged going forward. The Terry Fox Run is an annual event held throughout Canada to raise money for cancer research. Terry Fox started the tradition with his Marathon of Hope in 1980 after he lost one of his legs to cancer. Terry Fox planned to run from the Atlantic coast to the Pacific, but only made it as far as Ontario before he lost his battle to the disease. Since then, Canadians have raised more than $850 million in his name for cancer research. Now we have a Nipua table tennis group raising funds for fire victims. The Nipua Table Tennis Group held their Saturday Smash Game for a Cause fundraiser game on September the 17th. Held at the Nipua Junior Rifle Club located on 4th Avenue in Nipua, a total of $406 was raised for those affected by the recent fire on Mill Street. This is after expenses were considered, which means that full amount has been received by the fire victims. The Roxy Theatre will be closed for the Thanksgiving weekend. Okay. Come back to that. Out of Helens Kitchen by Helen Drysdale. This week, her article features pumpkin season. The leaves are turning. There's a chill in the air, and we are on the eve of Thanksgiving. It's time for fall desserts, which means sweets with pumpkin pie spice. The Indigenous peoples in what is now Canada lived here for thousands of years before the Europeans' arrival. Their customs and celebrations reflected the various seasons. They honored the fall harvest and held celebrations of Thanksgiving to the Great Spirit for the crops and game that they had harvested. Their fall celebration included feasting, prayers of thanks, prayers for survival in the coming winter, dancing, and games. The first European Thanksgiving was celebrated in 1578 by an English explorer named Martin Frobisher. Frobisher and his crew were searching for the Northwest Passage. The long journey had been plagued with many difficulties, including freak storms which scattered the boats and the loss of one of his 15 boats. When Frobisher and the other boats were reunited on the shores of what is now Newfoundland, they held a service of communion and thanksgiving for their safe arrival. There was no turkey with trimmings, but a humble meal of ship's rations of salt beef, biscuits, and mushy peas. This is now accepted as the first Canadian Thanksgiving, 43 years before the first American Thanksgiving. In the 1860s, Protestant ministers in Canada asked the colonial government to create an official holiday to give thanks for the fall harvest and thanks for their ties to their British national identity. In 1879, it became a national holiday. On January 31st, 1957, the second Monday in October was permanently declared the official date. As you gather with your family and friends, may your hearts be filled with love and grateful thanks for all our blessings. The 2 recipes today call for pumpkin pie spice. Should you not have pumpkin pie spice, you can make a substitute of 1 teaspoon cinnamon, 3/4 teaspoon ginger, 1/4 teaspoon allspice, and 1/4 teaspoon nutmeg. Or eat cake instead of pie. This dessert has all the flavors of pumpkin pie and is fast to put together. The first one is pumpkin pie dessert, and the second is pumpkin scones. The Mind Reading Fallacy by Delcy Martin. Your listening ear. Cognitive behavioral therapy gives us a principle called mind reading. What this says is that people tend to assume that we know what other people are thinking. How many times have you said, I know that person so-and-so is thinking bad things about me? This principle translates well to working with couples. In relationships, we assume that we know what our partner is thinking. We tend to neglect telling our partners we love them because we tell ourselves, they know that I love them. Well, yes, the commitment made to your relationship was made in lifelong love, but it doesn't mean that your partner doesn't want to be told that you love them. When you are communicating with your partner, you are sending them a message in the form of words, but it's left to them to interpret what you mean by those words. It's left to them to determine the underlying emotion and message behind those words, and that is not an easy thing for everyone to do. Often we assume that our partner knows what we mean when we tell them something because they should know me. Sure, your partner knows you in a general way, especially if you've been together for a while, but we can't assume that they know exactly what we are thinking. Therefore, it's so important to be as clear as possible when we are communicating, to leave less to interpretation. Today, I encourage you to start telling your partner that you love them every time you feel it. Sure, it kind of sounds cheesy, but love is cheesy, and that's what makes it so great. Saying these 3 simple words throughout your day and throughout the life of the relationship will help to keep that cheesy flair alive. Next time you tell your partner a story about your day, practice being more detailed by including your emotions, how you felt during the day. This will add some extra emotional depth to a more mundane conversation and help to increase emotional intimacy in your relationship. Is emotional intimacy that important? Well, it absolutely is. Studies show repeatedly that one of the predicting factors for a relationship breakdown is decreased emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy is also one of the most natural things to start building in a relationship. After all, it was emotional intimacy that with our partner that helped us to fall in love and to maintain that love in the first place. Let's strive for those Hallmark movie, W channel, super cheesy romance book sort of moments. Life is so very short, and life was meant for love. Next, what can we do to bring in more physicians? By Owen Devereaux. A recent health summit in Portage, La Prairie hoped to spotlight the issues that all rural and northern communities in Manitoba are dealing with when it comes to attracting more physicians. Even more importantly, the summit hoped to perhaps come up with an actual solution or two to the problem. Over 100 participants attended the event, held on Wednesday, September 21st and organized by Doctors Manitoba and Manitoba Chambers of Commerce. It included healthcare leaders and municipal officials from across the province. Nipua was represented there as well in the form of Mayor Blake McCutcheon and Councillor Murray Parrott. Upon returning from Portage, Parrott sat down with the banner and press and discussed the importance of the day and the valuable information it provided. He said, I was sitting in a room with about 100 of the smartest people in Manitoba. We had the CEO from Shared Health, Adam Top, Brian Schoonart of Prairie Mountain Health, 3 directors from Association of Manitoban Municipalities. There were counselors, there were doctors from all over Manitoba. Rural Manitoba, Northern Manitoba were well represented, stated Parrott. And the big thing was that everyone was on task with what can we do to bring in more physicians and retain them without undermining the importance of all the other staff required to run the health system. Parrott said that the day provided a lot of valuable information on the challenges many other communities are facing and how they have worked to address them. He added that Nipua is doing well with its efforts attracting doctors. There's still more we can learn. We are in an excellent position. We have a residency program, and as soon as they arrive, they have a place to live, with residences in the Beautiful Plains Community Medical Clinic. And we have community members who are introducing to the community, showing them what our community has to offer and what it can be for them. Even with all that, there is still more we can learn. There are so many communities that are offering houses. That is a huge asset, and that's just one example of what is going on elsewhere. We can learn from these other communities and perhaps adapt our plans. That's what the day was about, hearing about the challenges that are out there and how they face those challenges, because they are common challenges. As for what comes of the summit on a larger level, further consultations are planned over the next few weeks with additional medical and economic development professionals. A final report with recommendations to recruit and retain more physicians should be available by the end of October. It will be shared with the provincial government for consideration and then made available for public review. And now there's a story and a picture about the Nipua Elks. Nipua Elks treasurer Norma Reed, right here, presented a $500 check to Rochelle Cuison, second from the right, and her daughter, Azili Cuison. Their home was destroyed by fire on September the 9th in Nipua. This money comes from the Elks and Royal Purple Fund for Children, which is a national charity of the Elks based in Regina, Saskatchewan, to assist children up to 19 years of age. Also pictured are Jim Schmall, Exalted Ruler, Nipua Elks number 398, Gerald Buchanan, Secretary, Bernice Nelson, for Sick and Visiting Projects, Joan Kitson for membership, and Archie Smith, past Exalted Ruler. I read that. Making an impact in the communities where we work and play. High Life Fun Days began as a weekend event for High Life employees to come together, unwind, and celebrate our time with each other. After a few years, our communities and business partners became involved. Together, we've been able to raise nearly $1.6 million for local charities. Since the first event in 2011, we've grown. Our fully integrated operations have seen High Life impact numerous communities where our employees live and play. To involve everyone, High Life Fun Days has grown too. In 2022, we extended the opportunity to be a part of this special event to even more of our employees, communities, and partners. We're happy to share the spirit of empowerment, volunteerism, and togetherness with you all. Each 2022 charity received a $40,000 donation. Learn more about what they do and see their reactions here at highlife.com/fundays2022. And just a note from Amanda Nottingale, who is from the Nipua Kin Club. We are just blown away. $40,000 for us to do so many good things in our community. We are so blessed and so excited to see where this is going to lead us. We've got a couple of projects that we know that this is going to help them flourish. This is also great seed money to start something even better. We are super excited and so grateful for High Life. All right. They are beacons of light. Local art exhibit highlights community members by Casper Werhan. Stories of resilience, rebuilding, and of becoming after hardship. This is the focus of Rise, the new exhibit making its home at Arts Forward in Nipua for the month of October. Created by a local artist, Katie Martin, the show highlights and shares the personal stories of 6 individuals from the community. Each person featured had their name put forward via nomination and then was selected by Martin. We all have to weather our own storms, and every once in a while you meet someone who not only survived theirs but learned to dance in its unapologetic winds, said Martin at the gala opening on October 1st. Yet when the wreckage cleared, they learned, they grew, they rebuilt, they were different. They somehow shone brighter. I am in awe of their strength, their stories, and of their ability to turn their tragedies into something more, into 1 part tears, 2 parts gold. She added, this show is about them and it's about you. When you look at their portraits and read their stories, I hope they inspire you as much as they've inspired me. These people, they really are beacons of light in our town. Martin has painted ever since she was little, going on later in life to pursue a fine arts degree in Ontario. She then became the art teacher in Nipua Area Collegiate Institute. I've always loved the arts and had an interest in them. Truthfully, I originally thought I wanted to be a doctor, but I changed my mind about that right in high school. Martin's painting process usually starts when an idea comes to her, or from a figured drawing that she uses as reference in addition to taking her own reference photos. However, for Rise, this process was a bit different. Martin worked directly from portrait photos taken of each of the 6 individuals chosen to be featured. Referencing those, Martin made acrylic underpaintings with oils on top. These photos were provided by Joanna Mitten, who collaborated with Martin for the show. Mitten, a good friend of Martin's, has been a photographer in Minnedosa for the past 5 to 6 years. I'd taken photos here and there previously, but only started being more of a hobbyist when I had kids, even using old film cameras, said Mitten. Then, when I moved to Minnedosa, I got into it as more than just a hobby. Mitten added, Katie and I have worked on a couple of projects before on a personal level, so I was flattered when she asked me to provide headshots for Rise. But when she told me what the exhibit was about, I told her I have to do more than just headshots for this. Mitten's portrait photos accompany the paintings Martin made, taking their place just above the stories for each featured individual. Additionally, her own solo work is also featured at the gallery for the duration of Rise. Mitten specializes in photographing weddings and other similar events, but has also recently been exploring landscapes. Something that interviewers of Rise are likely to notice is that the appearance of gold tree branches in each piece. This is a concept returning, albeit in a slightly different form, from a different art series Martin has done. After I lost my son, Bo, I did a show titled Kintsukuroi. The paintings involved large abstract washes of color with veins of gold throughout them. For those unaware, Kintsukuroi, also known as kintsugi, is the Japanese art of mending broken pottery with gold, a metaphor for embracing flaws, imperfections, and for healing. My hope with those paintings was that anyone who felt broken could look at those works and see the beauty and strength in repair, Martin enthused. This show connects with that one, gold branches veins in their own right, accompanying people who have walked through fire and risen from the ashes, stronger, brighter, and more colorful than before. People who turned their personal struggle or tragedy into gold, be it through raising awareness, creating something, helping others, or just carrying on in their own way. Both Mitten and Martin hope that all who visit will enjoy the exhibit and be inspired by the stories shared. Now, in the sports section, we have an article about the Nipua Titans hockey team by Owen Devereaux. Nipua's penalty kill was put to the test over the weekend in a 3-game homestand against the OCN Blizzard. Unfortunately, it was not able to withstand the relentless onslaught they encountered, ultimately resulting in the Titans dropping 2 of 3. After collecting a 3-2 shootout victory on Friday, September 30th, the Titans were bested 4-1 on Saturday, followed by a 3-2 loss in overtime on Sunday to close out the weekend. In the first 2 games, the OCN Blizzard went 2 for 3 and 3 for 6 with the man advantage. For the final game, Nipua did not surrender a single goal while on the penalty kill. While that might sound like a positive step forward, the downside was that the team was still called for 7 penalties on the night. After Sunday night's game, Titans assistant coach Zach Hicks said penalties were definitely a factor in how the weekend played out. He said, "We wanted to focus on our penalty kill after giving up so many in the first 2 games. We have to clean up the discipline part. When you are in the penalty box all night, it makes it difficult to establish your own tempo of play. It will give us some confidence moving forward that we didn't surrender any goals on Sunday night, but we'll need to increase our discipline and not take those penalties to begin with." Another huge factor in OCN taking 2 of the 3 games was their style of play. A smothering structure, which provided the Titans with no time to think while possessing the puck. Hicks said that type of smart, aggressive style can wear on you over the course of 3 games. The heavy forecheck and the heavy pressure the whole time just ran us down, and we couldn't generate the chances we'd like to have. In division games, we are going to be tight this season. It looks as though there isn't a single bad team here in the MJ's Western Division. As the season wears on, things will kind of open up a bit more, I'm sure. And Owen has some random notes. For the 3rd straight week, the Nipua Titans have gone 1-1 on the schedule, making their overall record 3-3-3. OCN forward Riley Zimmerman scored his league-leading 9th goal of the season in overtime on Sunday night. The 20-year-old leads the league in points with 13. With a pair of goals this past weekend, Nipua's Dylan Birch now has 3 points in just 7 games. That already matches his total points for his rookie season in 2021-22 over the course of 21 games. The next game is Friday, October the 7th, against the Portage Terriers at the Yellowhead Center at 7:30 p.m. So we are tied for 2nd place right now with Wayway Sakapa Wolverines, with OCN Blizzard being in 1st. All right. Nipua Campaign raises over $3,500 for Manitoba Down Syndrome Society, submitted by Nipua Banner and Press. A Walk With Us campaign for the Manitoba Down Syndrome Society was held on Sunday, September 25th at the Langford Recreational Trails, 6 miles east and 3 miles south of Nipua. For those who don't know, Down syndrome is a genetic condition caused by an extra chromosome. It occurs in 1 in 700 to 900 live births in children. The Manitoba Down Syndrome Society, or MDSS, is a non-profit organization operated by volunteers. MDSS provides support, information and opportunities for individuals with Down syndrome, parents, professionals, and other interested persons. The Langford Recreational Trail was the perfect spot for this event. Walkers of all ages and even some four-legged walkers enjoyed the trails. There were interesting facts about the area posted along the trails, so it was also an opportunity for walkers to learn more about this spot, all the while enjoying the fall colors of the trees on a beautiful day. Thank you to the Langford Recreational Trails Committee for providing support and the perfect venue for this awareness event. At the end of the walk, all hungry participants enjoyed hot dogs barbecued and served by the Nipua Legion Ladies Auxiliary. Many thanks to Nipua Gladstone Co-op, Nipua Safeway, and Giant Tiger for donating all the food for the event. It was so appreciated. This is the third year this annual fundraiser has been held in the Nipua area. Approximately 90 walkers of all ages came out to support the walk. A total of $3,510 was raised. All funds were donated to the MDSS. Brandy and Will Cox, whose son Logan was born with Down syndrome, organized the event and would like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who helped to make the day so successful. So here we have 5 candidates for the upcoming election. For the Reeve, we have, this is for North Cypress Langford. We have 3 different people vying for the opportunity of being the Reeve. The first one is Clyde McCallum. My name is Clyde McCallum and I am running for Reeve for the municipality of North Cypress Langford. I have lived in the area all my life. I have been a councillor on 2 different terms for a total of 6.5 years. I enjoy hockey, motorcycling, fishing, and hunting. My wife and I enjoy the rural lifestyle in this municipality. If elected, I will make sure to preserve the relationships we have with the towns of Carberry, Nipua, and the communities within the municipality. We share many 50-50 funded items with Carberry that is important to keep as it saves on tax dollars. We also have agreements with Nipua for service items that we want to continue. Also, if elected, I will continue to try to keep our public works and roads in the best condition possible, working with our foreman and the road committee to provide safe roads for our residents. I will also keep transparent communications with all councillors and residents. I am a councillor currently, so if you have any questions, please feel free to communicate on my cell number, which is available on the website, or by calling the municipal office. Jimmy Kraseniak. My name is Jimmy Kraseniak and I am running for Reeve for the municipality of North Cypress Langford. I am a mixed farmer in the municipality who calves out 90 cows. I have been on numerous boards, but not on municipal council. One of the many things that people want is some new blood on council. It doesn't get any newer than running for Reeve with no RM experience. It is well documented that there is a shortage of candidates in most areas of the province. Among other things, one of the reasons for this is that people sometimes find it discouraging to run against members who are seemingly permanent fixtures. I plan on remaining for only 1 term, and I believe that if you have been on council for well over a decade or before Justin became leader, then it's just time to find a hobby. And Ray Drayson. My name is Ray Drayson and I'm running for Reeve for the municipality of North Cypress Langford. I have been born and raised in the municipality of North Cypress Langford and have farmed in the municipality. I have currently retired from farming and am living on the farm owned by the Drayson family for over 100 years. As Reeve, I am committed to going to all council meetings and willing to listen and be the voice for all people in our municipality. I am willing to work with the people. Please vote October 26th, 2022. And for Ward 6, Don Hawken is running. I have been keenly interested in municipal affairs most of my life. I work casual at Manitoba Agricultural Services Corps, so I have time to commit to serve as your councillor. I am committed to maintaining infrastructure and improving it, such as roads, bridges, and equipment. I believe in maintaining current tax rates with only minimal increases. Please come out and vote on October 26th at the Yellowhead Hall in Nipua. And the other one running for councillor for Ward 6 is Malcolm Murray. He has submitted his name for councillor for Ward 6 in the municipality of North Cypress Langford. Hello and good day. I have been a resident of the municipality of North Cypress Langford my entire life, raised on a mixed cattle and grain farm in the Mentmore area, and currently farm in the Hallborough and Mentmore areas of our municipality for some 20 plus years. I repair bikes for area children, as well as for my Keep 'em Rolling Bike Day and Facebook page. I am also a member of the Langford Community Pasture Patron Advisory Committee. I am seeking a second term as a Ward 6 councillor to represent our area at the council table and will assist to make your voice heard. All right. Nipua Nova is proud to support and celebrate National Gymnastics Week by the Nipua Novas. It's National Gymnastics Week from October 2nd to 8th, and we need to celebrate our local gymnasts. Nipua Nova's Gymnastics Club has been in operation for over 40 years and has seen thousands of children come through our program. We have gymnasts come from over 25 different communities and travel over 45 minutes to participate and train with our club every week. This year, we are back in the gym with over 220 recreational gymnasts in 12 different programs, ranging in age from walking to 14 years old. With COVID-19 in the past, we are finally able to move 15 girls up into our pre-competitive program. Pre-competitive is great preparation for our competitive program, which has almost doubled in gymnasts from 10 to 16 gymnasts this season, competing in levels 1 to 6. Our competitive team traveled all over the province and Saskatchewan last season, bringing home 20 gold medals, 9 silver, 5 bronze medals, and 13 top 8 placings in 6 separate competitions. Provincials were held in April 22, and our girls brought home 2 provincial gold medals, a bronze medal, 2 6th place finishes, and a 7th and 8th place finish in the province. The girls train 6 to 9 hours a week from September through to April, and then attend weekend camps during the summer held all across the province. This is all on top of being multi-sport athletes who train and work out on their own outside the gym, hold down jobs, and are exceptional students and volunteers around their communities. We would not be able to do this without our tremendous head coach, Amanda Lebetelier, who puts in countless hours for our club. Planning and leading rec programs, organizing coaching and coach-in training, staff, equipment setup and takedown, equipment upgrades, grant applications, and all the behind-the-scenes workings of our great gymnastics program. Amanda sets the highest bars for her coaches and brings out the best in every athlete so they can reach their goals within gymnastics and life. So here's to our gymnasts and all gymnasts in Canada as they celebrate the true sport principles for this week and always. Let's go for it. Play fair, respect others, keep it fun, stay healthy, include everyone, and give back. Here's one more picture. Nipua Titans commemorating Truth and Reconciliation Day. Sandy Bay Ojibwe First Nation Chief Trevor Prince presided over the ceremonial puck drop during the Friday, September 30th game between the Nipua Titans and the OCM Blizzard. All right, I'll just go back to a section here. Homebodies by Rita Friesen. This week her article is entitled Thanksgiving, appropriately. A thankful heart and mind are constant goals of mine. As many of you know, and some of you have deduced, I am a person of faith, a Christ follower, far from perfect, simply well started on a journey. Thankfulness is a huge part of my belief system, as it is for many faiths. Once we grasp the power of thankfulness, of being thankful, it becomes a lifeline. Many of us begin and end our day reviewing the people and situations, and sometimes things for which we are grateful. My list has some constants, some rare occurrences, and some hoped fors. A constant thanksgiving is for water, safe water to drink, an abundance of water for dishes and laundry and personal cleanliness. There was a time when we pumped water from the well. Yes, the well, that also provided water for the livestock, heated that water on the stove for all hot water needs, and then carried that water back outside. In my lifetime, I remember the weekly bath in the galvanized tub. Washing dishes in less than pristine water because of the scarcity of the gift. Carrying 2 5-gallon pails of slopping water out to the livestock. Melting snow for the best water to wash hair and clothing. And I recall very clearly the ordeal of Laundry Day. It was a day of celebration when our home installed running water, a wringer washer in the basement, and a drainage system. How much easier that made life for my mother. Now I casually toss a load in the machine, press the buttons, and walk away. A constant thanksgiving for water. Extrapolate that into the thanksgiving for clean heat. A thanksgiving for rare occurrences that longed for phone call or visit, restored health for a loved one, energy, and a good night's sleep. Those last two are often synonyms. Perhaps I overestimate the value of a good night's sleep. My sister, the younger, and I have contemplated our changing views of sleep deprivation as a means of horror or torture. If I thought midlife insomnia was bad, in retrospect, it was an inconvenience. I would have to classify my observance of natural beauty as a rare occurrence, not because I use it so rarely, but because there is so much, very much beauty all around me that I miss. On my walk this week, the changing colors and the crunch of leaves beneath my feet drew me to a halt. Noting the drying fruit still hanging on the branches, the acorns, and the geese on the lagoon, thankfulness filled me. How many moments have I missed? Ah, the hoped fors. We are asked to offer all our prayers and petitions with thanksgiving. And so I'm thankful for hope, thankful for this created world, hoping for sustainability and thoughtful care of resources from people to fuels and everything in between. Thankful for my families of birth, families of choice, families of faith, hoping for health and well-being for every member. Thankful for every breath I draw, hoping for the ability to continue to breathe and to learn and bless with each one of them. Give thanks with a grateful heart. "12 MLVs, Part 6, Faithfully Yours" by Neil Stroshine. I will never forget my first day of grade 12. As I entered my homeroom for that year, one of my classmates yelled out, "Guess what, Neil? 200 school days. That's all we have left." I don't know how he found that out, but I do know that he was right. That standard was set by Alberta's Department of Education. Snow days, or days when the buses couldn't run because of a snowstorm, snow days counted as instruction days, as long as the school was open and classes could be held. Closures for teachers' convention, professional development days, or holidays were not counted as instruction days. So we actually wound up with about 185 instruction days out of the required 200. As a farm boy, I was entitled to 10 instruction days or 2 weeks harvest leave, but I had to keep up with my classwork or I'd be catching up when I got back. I usually chose to catch up when I got back, as did most of the farm boys who were in my class. But in our grade 12 year, we had to deal with a loss of instructional days that put our entire first semester in jeopardy. Our school division's teachers went on strike 4 weeks before we were scheduled to write our grade 12 Department of Education final exams. We were back in class 2 weeks before exams were written, but we knew we had a lot of work ahead of us to make sure we were ready to take those exams. Our teachers did everything they could to help us, and they helped a lot. But it was the help of 2 good friends that made the difference for me. They taught me the 6th of 12 most valuable lessons I learned during my years in public school. When you choose your friends, choose quality over quantity. My 2 friends were as different as night and day. One understood concepts I couldn't fully grasp and helped me master them. I, in turn, helped him in areas where he was weak. Our second friend was struggling with everything in every course he was taking. We patiently coached him through the material, and he was able to pass most of his finals. While helping him, we learned even more. It was a win-win situation for all of us. Good friendships must be allowed to evolve over time. The 2 friendships I found so valuable in grade 12 actually began in grade 10. By the time we reached grade 12, the respect and admiration we had for each other was so well established that we could coach each other through our exam preparations without losing any of that admiration and respect. And when we finally got our grades, we could take pride in what we had achieved by working together and helping each other. That lesson has served me well in the years since I graduated from high school. I don't make friends easily. I am always suspicious of people who tell me they want to be my friend. I prefer to let friendships develop at their own pace. The ones I described above happened that way, and I will always treasure the impact they had on my life. We went our separate ways after graduation, but memories of the friendship I had with those 2 classmates are as vivid today as they have ever been, and I hope that I can follow their example and be as good a friend to others as they were to me. Now we have a picture here called Gladstone's Glory Years, which we have often seen pictures and stories from Gladstone in other features of the paper. This one's called the Burton Group of 1910. My goodness, look at those outfits. This photo was featured in Chapter 10 of the Gladstone's Glory Years booklet series that was made by the Gladstone Age Press. The photo pictures members of the Burton Group from 1910. Unfortunately, no additional information regarding the group and what it did was included or was able to be found. I can kind of read this one. It says largest delegation, but that's all I can read. That's an old picture. Thumbs up, thumbs down. A thumbs up and thank you to the person who paid for my lunch at Bruce Brothers Bistro on Thursday, September 29th. So kind. That is very kind. All right, now we'll read Ken Waddell's Right in the Center. It's titled All About Labels. And there is a disclaimer that the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the view of the Banner and Press staff. There is a sweeping change across the world. In general, there is a shift to what some might call the right. In Alberta, it looks like Danielle Smith will become Premier of Alberta, and that is definitely what you might easily call a shift for the right. The recent election of Pierre Poilievre as leader of the Conservative Party of Canada is widely regarded as a shift to the right. Pierre crushed his opposition and the other parties, and Canada's media are still wondering what happened. The Quebec election results gave the CAQ a huge win, and that group is pretty hard line in opposition to traditional liberal or left-wing views. All that said, I don't particularly like the term left or right. I would prefer that we view parties as correct or incorrect. The three political movements mentioned above are riding popular votes totals as they have picked paths that resonate with majority of voters in their particular constituency. I would call that the correct direction rather than left or right. If I were the federal Liberal Party, I would be quite concerned that Justin Trudeau's 2015 boast about sunny days, sunny ways has been pretty much a disaster. Trudeau's ability to screw things up spans a much wider range of topics than most politicians. Remember when Trudeau loaded up his cabinet with women, some very competent people? He said it's 2015. Too bad he turfed two of the best women and they exited calling Trudeau a liar as they went out the door. He tried to help the environment but ruined Alberta and other resource-based provinces in the process. He pretty much screwed up the battle against COVID-19. In the pandemic aftermath, he maintained spotty mask and vaccine mandates long after science showed them no longer necessary. The Arrive Canada app, now abolished, never was any use. I would call that incorrect, not left or right. On the international scene, Canada is being swept up in another correct movement. The protests in Iran, sparked by the death of a woman accused of not wearing her head covering correctly, are turning Iran upside down. The sympathetic protest in Toronto was said to be attended by 50,000 people. I would say that is a correct direction, not left or right politics. This whole left or right thing is a big problem, as the labeling become political catchphrases soon become a club to beat your opponents. If a person studies Canadian political history, the founding party, the Conservative Party led by John A. Macdonald, ran up a protectionist policy with Eastern Canadian industries being protected from their U.S. competition by high tariffs. The Liberal Party stood for free or freer trade. That was more popular with Western farmers, as they wanted to buy cheaper machinery from U.S. manufacturers. While positions on trade and tariffs wandered all over the map for decades, it was the Conservatives under Prime Minister Brian Mulroney that brought in the much fairer GST and the U.S.-Canada Free Trade Agreement, and opposition came from the Liberals. Opposition to the FTA and GST, along with a few other issues, defeated the Mulroney government. Excuse me. But in hindsight, the FTA and GST are better policies than the previous arrangements. The point is, the political positions and the accompanying labels that get attached may or may not be correct. Left wing or right wing may or may not be correct. Correct is correct, and that can only be determined by a certain moral compass, much thought, discussion, and much debate, and may only become totally clear by looking at history. Okay. Now we have another added part of the paper this week. And it's recognizing our area firefighters, because it is Fire Prevention Week from October the 9th to the 15th, 2022. Images from a recent house fire in Nipua are a stark reminder of the importance of all our community's local volunteer firefighters. Now, I'm not going to mention all the names, but I am going to mention the areas. This firefighting crew is from Glenella, from Arden, from Eden, from Gladstone, Minnedosa, Erickson, Nipua, Plumas, St. Rose, Onanol with no picture, Eddystone with no picture. We have Alonza, Amaranth, McCreary, Carberry, Kelwood, and Laurier. And there's a couple of articles that I will read. Okay. Signs of electrical problems in a home. Homeowners know that all sorts of issues can affect a home. Issues can run the gamut from the merely annoying to the unsafe. Electrical issues fall into the latter category, posing a significant safety hazard if left unchecked. According to the home safety experts at UL, formerly known as Underwriters Laboratories, learning to recognize warning signs of electrical wiring issues can greatly lower the risk of house fires. House fires pose a significant threat, as the Electrical Safety Foundation International notes that electrical malfunctions cause more than 50,000 house fires each year. UL indicates that the majority of those house fires can be prevented, and learning to recognize signs of an electrical problem in a home is a key component of home fire prevention. And they list 3. Number 1, dimming or flickering lights. The UL notes that light fixtures do not typically draw a substantial amount of power, so dimming or flickering lights is not often indicative of an issue with a fixture. Dimming or flickering lights could indicate that the circuit the lights are on is overburdened, most likely by large appliances sharing the circuit with the lights. If dimming and flickering lights are a problem, homeowners can speak to an electrician about moving the fixtures to another circuit or installing a new line specifically for major appliances. Number 2, odors. Odor emanating from an outlet, fuse box, or breaker panel should be reported to an electrician immediately. The odor, which some homeowners indicate smells like fish, could be a result of an overheated circuit. Odor coming from an outlet, fuse box, or breaker panel could indicate a significant electrical issue, so homeowners should not hesitate to report this problem to an electrician. Odors can sometimes travel through HVAC systems as well, so homeowners should take note and call an electrician even if their outlets do not smell. Number 3, frequently blown fuses or tripped breakers. According to UL, circuit breakers and fuses have a built-in fail-safe that is designed to prevent overloading. Sometimes a tripped breaker is a result of an aging appliance. One way to detect that is to plug in the product to more than one outlet in the house. If each breaker trips, then the appliance is likely to blame. However, if using the same outlet continues to trip the breaker, regardless of what's plugged into it, then the circuit requires the attention of an electrician. Electrical issues increase the risk for home fires. Fortunately, such issues are generally preventable and often easily remedied by a qualified electrician. All right, and the very last article that I'll be reading today is entitled Renter's Insurance More Valuable Than You May Think by Owen Devereaux. Perhaps one of the most overlooked aspects of renting a home or apartment might be the purchasing of renter's insurance. In a recent survey of January 22, of 491 respondents across Canada by TD Insurance, the percentage of renters with insurance was less than half, at just 46%. For many of those surveyed, they cited concerns over the cost, a feeling as if they don't have much personally to insure, or believing they'll be covered under their landlord's policy as reasons why they are without it. Mitch Hutton, the business manager for Gill & Schmall Agencies in Nipua, said that many renters are unaware that this type of insurance covers much more than your personal belongings. Renter's insurance covers both your contents that you own in the property, but another big part of it is liability. If you were to cause a fire within the property that you're renting, the property owners may charge you for those damages. While this type of insurance is not a legal requirement for renters in Canada, Hutton said without it, renters could be held personally responsible for damage and face steep repair expenses. Hutton also noted that for some, they expressed concern over the cost of buying and maintaining the insurance. He said even the most basic of packages gives you some effective protection. Cost-wise, in most cases, and it depends on the amount of items you have. But cost-wise, most basic insurance packages will cover $20,000 to $30,000 for personal loss, and with $1 million third-party liability, you're probably only looking at $150 to $200 per year, indicated Hutton. In a growing renters market such as Nipua, Hutton added that this is something that has gone under the radar for far too many local tenants. He said people should consider sitting down with an insurance agency and finding out for themselves. He said with any new client, we have a questionnaire we go through with them and we figure out what rate is best for you. It just takes 20 or 30 minutes and we can determine your risk factor and provide you with that little bit of peace of mind. Because if you live in a large apartment, those properties can be worth millions of dollars. If you were, for example, to leave a tap on and ended up flooding multiple stories, you could hit with the bill for hundreds of thousands of dollars that for the sake of less than a couple of $100s a year, you can provide a lot of peace of mind. All right, so with that, I'm going to conclude this week's reading of the Nipua Banner and Press. So thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next week. So bye for now.